It'll be Lonzo. Got the triple. Jackson Hayes on the flush. They take it away. Good D. Frank Jackson. Count it. Yes. That's all. Count it.
What is up, Pelicans fans, and welcome into our Pelicans preview presented by Smoothie King. I'm Caroline Gonzalez. It is our final Pelicans preview as your Pelicans get set for their final seeding game inside the NBA bubble against the Orlando Magic. You can catch tip-off coming up next on Fox Sports New Orleans at 8 p.m. Time now to welcome in our guest for today's show from his castle in Metairie. It is radio studio host for the Pelicans, Daniel Salas. Daniel, we've had you on the show once before, but a lot has changed for the Pelicans since that time. How has this entire seeding game process gone for you?
It's been an interesting one, Caroline. As you mentioned, I've moved now into a castle, so that's been the biggest difference between the beginning of the restart. But I'd have to say, obviously, with only one game left, we really didn't expect the Pelicans to be in this situation. You thought on this day we'd be scoreboard watching, seeing if the Pelicans would have an opportunity to play in the play-in game. But instead, we're talking about a game that will be the last one for the Pelicans of this 2019-20 season. So not the way we expected things to go for the Pelicans, but overall, even with the record that the Pelicans had in Orlando, I think there was a lot of things that we could take away from this time.
Daniel, look into your crystal ball for me and tell us, first of all, when the end of COVID-19 is going to be, but more importantly, that 8 and 9 seed, maybe that play-in series. Who do you think in the Western Conference is going to secure that 8 seed?
Man, it's so tough right now because Portland has a half-game lead over Phoenix and Memphis. I think San Antonio is a long shot because they need all three of the teams above to lose. I think it's going to be Portland and Memphis. I think with so much at stake, and Memphis is playing Milwaukee tonight, but at the same time, Milwaukee is already clinched that 1 seed. So I think both teams will win their respective games, and I think they'll both be playing for that play-in game. It would be a shame, though, that Phoenix doesn't get that spot just because of the fact that they have a chance to go 8-0 tonight and go undefeated in the bubble. Either way, I'll take any of those 4 teams in the play-in, no matter what the situation is. But it's been exciting, the opportunity to have a play-in and see 4 or 5 teams battle it out coming down to the last day has been quite impressive.
All right, before we get into tonight's game, let's take a look back at Tuesday night's game between the Pelicans and the Kings. This game looked a little bit different than the first matchup between the two teams. Both teams have been eliminated from playoff contention, but that doesn't mean you didn't see some exciting action. Now, most of this action came from the reserves on both teams. The bench really stepped up for the Pelicans. You saw players like Frank Jackson. Jahlil Okafor stepped up big time for the Pelicans. It was his first seeding game inside the NBA bubble. He led the Pelicans with 21 points. Unfortunately, the result wasn't what the Pelicans wanted. They fell to the Kings 112-106 on Tuesday night. But let's go ahead and watch some highlights from Tuesday night's matchup.
Pelicans, Kings, both teams already eliminated from the playoffs. Zion Williamson sitting out with right knee soreness. Lonzo Ball cashing and splashing in the corner. The smooth touch. The second quarter, Jahlil Okafor working inside, making his restart debut with 21 points. Another former Duke Blue Devil, Frank Jackson, about that action. And the Pelicans ahead by 5. There's another Duke sighting, Harry Giles over Okafor. Second double-double in his career for Harry Giles with 12 and 11. But Okafor missed just 2 shots, was 9 for 11 from the field. Bogdanovic scored 35, a career high last week, and going to work here, giving the Kings a 4-point advantage. That proved to be the turning point. Buddy Hield extending that lead to 13. Then Jabari Parker putting some cushion on it. Get to the bucket. Parker again working inside on a pick and roll. Sacramento gets the win 112-106.
All right, well, you just saw highlights from Tuesday night's matchup against the Sacramento Kings. A healthy amount of players out for the Pelicans in that game, but we'll bring back in Daniel Salerson for his thoughts on a few of the Pelicans players stepping up, including Frank Jackson, Jahlil Okafor. Daniel, what were some of your observations from Tuesday night's matchup?
I think you mentioned the two observations there, Jahlil Okafor and Frank Jackson. The Duke products really played well together off the bench. Ja hasn't played since February 25th and came in and looked like he didn't have any rust at all. Was 7 of 7 in the first half, finished with 21 points. Frank Jackson not too far behind him from 8 with 18. Think about it, 4 of the 5 starters did not play. JJ Redick did not play, even though he was available. So you had a lot of young guys with the opportunity to step up, and those two guys really took advantage. I think that's what we would see on tonight as well. But this is an opportunity for some of these guys to not only play for a contract with the Pelicans or play for some time next year, but play for their NBA livelihoods with a chance to maybe stick around and play with another franchise. So they're going to make the most of their opportunity, and Ja and Frank were the two that definitely did Tuesday.
Okay, time now to turn the page to tonight's game, and it's time for our squad goals presented by Zatarans. Daniel, the Pelicans tonight will take on the Orlando Magic, who have secured their 8th spot in the Eastern Conference. If you're the Pelicans, what are some keys going into tonight's game?
Well, the first one's pretty simple. That's compete. I know with a game that doesn't have any playoff implications for either side, you could tend to kind of just go through the motions for these 4 quarters. So tonight for some of these young guys, you have to compete in this ball game. Play as if your NBA livelihoods are at stake. So seeing guys like Ja and Frank and Jackson Hayes and Nickeil Alexander-Walker step up, I think that's what you want to see out of these young guys. So hopefully they come out of the gates strong, because slow starts have been a problem for New Orleans in the bubble. Come out of the gates with a good start and compete in this game. The second key has got to be the turnovers, because turnovers have been a major issue for the Pelicans throughout this entire restart. 20 again last night in the loss to Sacramento. They've been averaging around 20 in the bubble as well. So taking care of the basketball, I expect mistakes, one from a fast-paced team like New Orleans. I also expect mistakes from the young guys. So I'm not terribly going to be upset if the mistakes happen, but you have to learn from them. So those are the two main keys, I would say. And the third one, I want to see some of the big men. You know, Jackson Hayes was perfect from the field on Tuesday against the Sacramento Kings. You had Ja play really good basketball. I want to see them again show us another good game, quality game from Jackson, limit the fouls. Ja continue to do work at the rim. I think those are the 3 things that are going to stick out to me tonight against Orlando.
All right, we'll hear more from Daniel in just a bit, but now it is time to hear from the team. Let's go inside the bubble for our Sound Up, presented by Beats by Dre.
We got to be consistent. We have to remind ourselves who we are and to just play hard and lock in defensively before we worry about anything else.
I think what we just went through is going to make us consistent. Just the experience.
I feel like the talent on this team and the chemistry, the character that these guys have been awesome, and it's been really fun to play.
Honestly, this group of guys I've grown to love, each and every one of them. I think we grew a lot and we learned from each other.
We have some young guys, some old guys, but it was really the first year that we all played together, and honestly, it looks very positive from here on out.
I had fun with my teammates. I enjoyed my first year here, just getting better and better each and every single game.
You know, I'm excited for the future, and I'm excited for everyone's future. A bunch of bright guys on this team, and it's been a lot of fun, man.
Future looks bright. Some very, very good young talent. If we can keep this team together, that'd be I feel like a benefit for us.
All right, good stuff there. It is time now for our favorite segment here on Pelicans Preview. It is our Twitter takeover fueled by Chevron, where you, the fan, get to ask our analysts some questions. Daniel, are you ready for these questions?
I did my stretching. I'm ready to go, Caroline.
All right, this first one comes from Kelly Simmons. Daniel, what will the NBA draft be like this year?
It's too early to tell because it still is 2 months away, but I'm assuming we'll have some sort of virtual draft like the NFL did in April with COVID-19. I think it's, possibility that we could see something like the NFL did, taking precautions and not having people inside an arena for the draft. It's scheduled for October 15th, but actually a week from tonight is when the Pelicans will find out where they will pick in the draft with the draft lottery. So it'll be interesting to see what these 2 months will be like for these teams, because remember, there is no March Madness, no NCAA tournament, and so these scouts for these teams and Pelicans general manager Trajan Langdon will just have to go off of player interviews and what they've scouted from these players before the tournaments were canceled due to COVID. So it's going to be a lot different than what we've seen in the past, but every team's in the same boat. So it should be interesting how this plays out in October.
Yeah, certainly interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing how everything plays out. All right, this next one comes from Jesse Clark. What is the biggest need for the Pelicans this offseason, Daniel?
I think the biggest thing is probably some more shooters at the guard position. I think when you have guys like Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson, of course, with Zion, you're going to expect to double teams. You're going to expect him to attack the paint. And we've seen in spurts during this bubble that Zion is a pretty good passer. So I think if you surround him and BI with shooters around the perimeter, I think that'll give the Pelicans an even better shot at winning some more ball games. So guard, shooters, I think you'll probably need another big man as well to add some depth to that position. Again, Jackson Hayes is still young, going through his first year here in the NBA. Nothing against him, but more of just having that depth at the backcourt when you have to relate to injuries and things like that. So I think those are the two main positions that I would keep an eye out for, whether it's a trade or the NBA draft or free agency.
I'll be sure to tell Trajan Langdon that you're available as a shooter, Daniel. All right, this last one comes from Jordan Boudreau. Disappointing ending, but what were the biggest positives of this season, do you think?
Look, I think that's a great point that I think we shouldn't label the season based on what happened here in Orlando. The Pelicans did plenty of good things before this hiatus hit. And remember, they were playing really well in February and March before COVID-19 happened. I think the biggest thing is they were competing for a playoff spot. And I think that was one of the goals for David Griffin when he got this job, is this year was a chance to be scoreboard watching and competing and playing in meaningful games in March and April. He got that in July and August. So for a young team that had 10 to 11 new players, a lot of young guys as well, the fact that they got that experience here in Orlando, and the fact that even after a 13-game losing streak, we still had a shot at the postseason, I think that's the biggest positive you can take away from this young Pelicans squad.
All right, great stuff there from Daniel. Let's go back inside the NBA bubble and take a look at Pelicans' own Brandon Ingram. Not only has Brandon Ingram been an all-star for this Pelicans team, he's getting work done off of the court. He recently donated shoes to a local hospital in his hometown. Let's go ahead and look at this generosity from Pelicans all-star Brandon Ingram in this edition of The Bubble Beat.
Well, we always do like a book bag giveaway around this time. Right now, it's kind of the thing where we can't touch each other. We can't meet up at my dad's old gym. So this year, with the COVID going on and everything going on in the world, we decided to give back to Lenore Hospital.
We wanted to find another avenue in order to contribute back to the community. And because of what's going on, what better place than, our frontline workers and everybody that's involved in that hospital. So we did not want to leave anyone out. So we wanted to make sure that every single employee that was on payroll that worked at the hospital in which he was born, got a contribution from us. So we made sure that every person got a pair of shoes.
I think it was important for us just to give back because they supported us throughout the years I was there. They're supporting people that's there that's sick. And we just want to show our gratitude and show them that we care about them as much as they care about us.
Some employees are working a lot of long hours. We can only imagine, and we personally know some healthcare workers, and we know what they're talking about and what they're going through. So a pair of shoes, really kind of played its part in this contribution to be the main avenue that we would go and a main contribution. So we knew that shoes would probably benefit them more.
Giving back for Brandon is a big plus, and because the way he grew up in Kinston, it's a small community, and he has a big heart. And so, him giving back is just something natural for him to do.
I mean, it makes me feel good, but I know also it makes them feel good knowing that this kid from Kinston, North Carolina, that made it all the way to Los Angeles and made it to New Orleans, still thinks about them and still has the same love that he had way back when.
All right, great stuff there. Don't forget, tip-off is coming up shortly on Fox Sports New Orleans. You can watch your Pelicans take on the Orlando Magic. All right, it is time now for our Who's Got Next, presented by Hancock Whitney Bank. Daniel, obviously this has been an unprecedented season, and we know that the Pelicans, after this game, will be returning to New Orleans because they have been eliminated from playoff play inside the bubble. But with everything so unknown, can you give us a little bit of insight on what is next for this Pelicans team?
Yeah, of course. As you mentioned, they will fly home after the game per NBA rules. Every team that has been eliminated after Thursday will have to clear the premises, so they will go straight home after the late game tonight. And then they're going to have a little time off. Look, they basically had most of their offseason here while waiting for the NBA restart to happen, so it's going to be a shorter offseason technically than we've had in the past. As I mentioned, the NBA draft lottery a week from today, the draft in mid-October. And then look, if the schedule is slated, the season for next year is supposed to start on December 1st. Not sure if that's going to be the same. Just depends on what's happening with COVID-19. So you could expect some fluidness in that month of December. But if that's the case, that means training camp's going to start in November. Free agency is going to start in October. And you're probably not going to have any of that summer league or those chances for the rookies to really get adapted to the NBA. So it's going to be a quick turnaround for sure. This will have some time for the team to kind of relax, spend some time with their family since they've been gone for basically a month and a half, and then get ready for the next season, because sooner rather than later, we're going to have a season in 2021. So we'll see what happens as far as when they start. But yeah, they're not going to have that much time to recover.
All right, looking forward to everything that is to come. We know that you will keep us updated on Pelicans.com and the Pelicans app. Daniel, good luck on your call tonight of the game. Good luck on your pregame and postgame show. And good luck to the Pelicans tonight. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Caroline.
Okay, Pelicans fans, well, it is a bittersweet goodbye from me. It is our final edition of Pelicans Preview presented by Smoothie King. We hope you are all staying safe and staying healthy. From all of us here at the Pelicans organization, we thank you for being fans of this wonderful team, and we hope to see you in the Smoothie King Center soon. All right, don't forget, tip-off is coming up next on Fox Sports New Orleans at 8 p.m. as your Pelicans get set to take on the Orlando Magic. All right, let's get you fired up from our friends over at SeatGeek. Let's go.
Williams.
Way to move it out the ball.
Jaleel on the floor. You got it. Go for it, brother.
Yes, sir.
Frank Jackson
Just playing
countered.
hard.
Yes.
That's all.
Good pass. Jackson Hayes on the fly.
Jaleel Overbright here dancing.